What's up, folks? Very overdue for a talking video and a update on the car, and then I would say some other stuff. So starting off, you guys probably seen, at least people that watch the channel frequently, posted a bunch of videos over the past couple weeks going over oil pressure instability, generally G-induced instability that I've seen while on track. Some of you that have been watching the channel for a long time could go back to last track season to a video where I posted some shots of the actual factory oil pressure gauge where I was seeing some dips. And the off season, part of the changes that I made were the acquisition of the AIM system so that I could collect data, some of which was pertaining to the health of the equipment, and some of which was to get an idea of my driving. So, as I had kind of expected, the data that came out on the equipment health showed that the oil pressure swings wildly as a result of G's, and to points where 15 or 20 psi at moments, which is just way too low. So, I brought this up kind of in hopes that people have an understanding. When you bring up this, I think I have low oil pressure at moments, or, as a result of G's, or I see them in right turns or whatever. There's been this like talk that, I think I may have this issue. Well, my example, I'd say the car is relatively normal. I'm not a particularly good driver. I'm an inexperienced driver trying to get better, and I can cause these oil pressure dips regularly in cold conditions and hot conditions. The bottom line is that the oil is not staying where it needs to be at the pickup at all times. Now, through the data, we see that there are some things that can be done possibly to mitigate this. Keeping the temperatures as cool as possible would be one. The data reflects that in the cooler temperatures, we don't see the dips as far, that they don't go to points that could be considered as dangerous as the ones that I'm seeing now. But there's a big bridge to cross to get there. A lot of improvement needs to be made in the cooling system to get there, probably not limited to just upgraded radiators and a center rad, but also an upgraded oil cooler, which currently there isn't a kit on the market to support that. So the moral of this story, and it's been like way more contentious than I thought, if any of you guys are on Renlist and had read some of the drama that had occurred initially when I had posted the thread, which has subsided, which is good. Is the standard, hey, I want to take my 996 to the track, what should I do? Yep, well, you should get a 2-quart deep sump and run race oil, and you should be good. For me, no, not my opinion. That's what the data from the car reflects. So I run my oil level where it's recommended by the manufacturer of the deep kit that I run. I run the oil that the manufacturer of the deep sump kit suggests that I run, and I still have these issues. So, if I have them, you guys that are running these cars on the track that don't collect data and are reliant on a gauge to feed you information, there's a very small window to be able to see that you're having this issue or not, because the drops happen very rapidly and the recovery is pretty rapid. So if you're not like focused mid-corner on what your oil pressure gauge is, which I don't think a lot of people are, you're probably not seeing it. So it's definitely something to think about. I think my opinion is there's a lack of information, of data that's provided for some of the components that people may want to go and buy that actually confirms what they do or do not do. And in the case of the deep sump that I'm running, I would love to see that, hey, it's a mechanical issue on my car, or it's something that's unique to me, and really it's supposed to work exactly as advertised. But I don't think that that's the case. I think that maybe if you want to putt around the track, or you want to run all season tires, or maybe it's good enough for you then. But shit, like I said, I'm just a normal guy, and I'm having these issues to the point where people that are very smart are looking at the data that's coming off of my aim system and going, wow, we're really surprised you haven't blown up your engine yet. So take that for what it's worth. That's my scenario, my situation. Yours may be different. But I think the idea that maybe people should want to capture a little bit of this data, and, have an understanding for themselves if the components that they've picked out to run in their car are functioning the way that they expected them to. Because in my case, they're certainly not. So I'll put a link to the thread on Renlist so some of you guys that aren't on there can go and read. There's a lot of good data and a lot of input from really smart people on kind of the whys and maybe the generalities on how this can be fixed. So I think it's good reading for people that have a interest in the technical side of the oil system, and kind of the history of people not really wanting to fund a fix to this issue, or just believing that the parts that were out there were good enough. So I'm going to end the drama portion on that. So talking about the car, in the track days that I've run so far, despite the oil pressure issues, the car has run very reliably for me. I have made a couple of small changes, so we'll talk about those now. So we're going to go underneath the car, and let me see if I can make it so I can be sure you see. So Palmer, one of the tracks that I go to pretty regularly, has a 95 decibel sound restriction. And I got warned there on my first day, and my fix for that was what you see. So this is a little teeny bullet muffler with just a turn down tip. And this has been sufficient to keep me out of the crosshairs of the sound police at Palmer. I really don't notice much of a difference at all. But so far I've run 2 more days there and gotten by both days without any warnings. The other change, so if we look up, oh, not there. So if we look up there, we'll see a canister. The canister's got a line running to it, which comes from, come up top. It comes from our UAOS drain. So this hose right here is attached to our drain plug from our UAOS. And what that does is allow the UAOS to just drain directly down into this reservoir down here. And basically, I don't want to have to empty it frequently, which I've had to do at a couple track days due to the blow-by that it's caught, and the location that UAOS is in makes it somewhat difficult to be able to service it at the track. So that was my stopgap measure to kind of get me past that, and so far it's worked awesome. It's done exactly what it's supposed to do. So Skip, I know, who developed the UAOS, is going to come up with a little bit better solution for the drain itself, and that will work good. But it allows me to not have to worry about it at the track and keep an eye on the blow-by that I'm seeing over the course of any given track day easily. So that is about it. We've got another track day tomorrow at Palmer. So I hope you guys have been enjoying all the track content. I definitely enjoy making them, and I'll be sure to keep you all in the loop with some additional updates. I've got some parts to throw on the car in relation to this oil pressure issue that we've been talking about. So once I get to that in about a week my time, probably could be no time your time, we'll go over what those parts are and the intent of putting them on. So until then, I'll catch up with you guys at the track tomorrow. Thanks.